What's up, guys? Jory Goodman from the Time Teller channel here, taking over Wolf Watch Club a little bit to talk to you about the GPHG watches for 2025. Now, over on my channel, I actually picked my favorites when it came to the finalists for this little competition, and we're going to be going kind of piece by piece, and I don't know, you guys in the comment section, let me know which ones are your favorites. I'm going to definitely be giving you my opinions here, and some of these watches are more, I would say, conventional than others. Some of them are very, very out there. And some of them are just kind of pieces of art that you would just put somewhere and appreciate. We're going to go over all of that today. Grand Prix de Horlogerie de Genève, the Grand Prix of Geneva Horology, right? And this is a very hoity-toity award ceremony for kind of very high-end watches, and you see some here. Now, there's a bunch of different categories, and these are the nominated pieces for this year. It starts with ladies, then ladies complication, time only, men's complication, iconic, tourbillon, mechanical exception, chronograph, sports, jewelry, artistic crafts, petite aiguille, challenge, and mechanical clock. So these you can see already by the names. Some are more conventional and some are just straight up like clocks that you would put on your desk and just sit back and be like, I'm rich. Now, this first watch, we're in the ladies category, is an AP, right? Now, what makes this AP special, this Royal Oak? Well, it's yellow gold, but it's quartz. It is undersized at 23 by 23 millimeters. And what I think is interesting is this is frosted gold. So it has that kind of rough, sand-blasted finish. And I think that extra texture looks really cool, but this is definitely more run-of-the-mill, especially when you take a look at this watch, which is a watch that I've done a full review on over at the Time Teller channel. The Gerald Genta Gentissima Aursson Fire Opal. This is what I called the COVID-19 virus watch. This does not look appealing to my eyes with its kind of pustules going on here. I don't like it. The case back and the rotor, very, very nice. Everything else, not really my thing. You have a Louis Vuitton tambour. This is the Convergence. I've heard people talk trash about this watch because they said it looks like a bathroom scale. I suppose. I don't really like whatever's going on here, but I actually like these kind of jump hour, weird, mechanical digital watches. Because, of course, it's digital with rotating Arabics coming out of a window, but I get people not liking this presentation with whatever is going on here. Nice case back. Louis Vuitton is stepping up their watchmaking in a big way, I think. 37 millimeters. I think this is actually larger for a woman's watch, but that's perfectly fine. Piaget. We don't even need to click on this. This is just another very Piaget. Piaget is known for weird shapes and designs and interesting colors, and even with their men's watches, they're very avant-garde, and I really like Piaget. I think their innovation is second to none, right? And I think they are up there with Cartier with some very strange out there watches. But of course, Piaget isn't really even they're not even competing with Cartier anymore these days. I think that's what used to be. It was Piaget and Cartier going head to head. Now it's Piaget and Bulgari, right, with the Octo Finissimo. They're all competing for these very thin watches. Anyway, Tiffany & Co., another jewelry company, but of course they've been making watches for a long while. This is I don't know. This is one of the examples of women's watches done wrong, in my opinion. And of course, this is just one guy's opinion, right? This is okay, it's like the designers were like, we need a woman's watch, just put gems everywhere. I don't think that that's what every woman wants. I think some women want legit watches that are just maybe smaller and easier to wear. This is a whole lot of stuff going on. Don't get me wrong, it's very impressive in a way. I mean, it's quartz, but Tiffany, at the end of the day, they are a jeweler, right? They're a jewelry company. So I get that they're just kind of, I mean, here's a fat gemstone with a bunch of gems set all over the case and bezel and this bird here. It's just not my thing. It's not my thing. But we move on to this Vutilenin. Vutilenin. I always mess up this name, although I'm a big fan of this watchmaker. This is an independent that has crazy movements. Very, very impressive. 65 hour power reserve. 37 millimeters. This is hand guilloche, the dial. Very, very impressive. Now, this is a watch that is a legit watch that is just undersized for a woman. And guess what? No gem set anywhere. Like, just because it's a quote-unquote girl's watch doesn't mean it has to look girly. Here's a watch from a, okay. AP, I give them a big ribbing because they only make Royal Oaks. But then they tried something different a few years ago with the Code 1159 series. And then I blasted them for that. I was like, AP, give us something different. Why do you only make Royal Oaks? We want something different. Then they make something different, and I'm like, not that, though. Go back to the Royal Oaks. With some of their more complicated Code 1159s, I do think that they are more palatable. I was just over at Happy Jewelers, and I filmed a Code 1159, and I think that there's some redeeming qualities, but clearly the tourbillon, like we have here, and the more complicated iterations are more appealing than just kind of the sterile time only. But here we have an exposed tourbillon. We have a very nice guilloche dial. We do have some gem set here on the crown and on the lug faces. I think that that's tasteful for a woman. Like, I'm not a woman, but if I could speak for them, I think that's a more tasteful presentation than something like that Tiffany & Co. that we just took a look at. But it is, overall, I think, oh, there's more here. Whatever. I still think that even with all these gems set here, I think this is much more tasteful than whatever that Tiffany & Co. was. It's just not my bag, baby. Moving on, we have a Chopard. This is kind of more Tiffany & Co. A whole lot of gem set. I don't think it's appealing whatsoever. And I'm a fan of Chopard, so guys, we can be we can have critical thinking and discretion. The cool thing about watch collecting is you don't have to be a brand loyalist, right? So I talk about this all the time on my channel. There are watchmakers that I love, but there are watches I absolutely despise and detest from those watchmakers that in general I really love. And there are watchmakers that I despise and detest. And guess what? There's watches they make that I really, really like. So you don't really have to be a brand loyalist. You can have critical thinking, you can have discretion, and you don't have to have these hard set rules for yourself. Just explore the hobby and like what you like and be open about expressing what you like. And guess what? Dislike what you dislike and be open about expressing that. I think that that's a good thing. Frank Mueller, I think some of their watches are cool, especially some of their like tonneau kind of shape, Cartier knockoffs, as I like to call them, and I piss everybody off. They're tonneau shaped dress watches. I think some of them are very interesting. This is just a bit much. I'm just perplexed by this, and it's just over 85,000 Swiss francs for this baby. Not a big fan of that. we go here. It's Gucci, baby. This Gucci is so many gems here. I still think this is more interesting than the last two gem set watches we took a look at. This Gucci interlocking has some kind of weird, I guess, like, I don't know, this weird open heart, or is that a tourbillon? Let me see. Yeah, that's a tourbillon. I'm an idiot. That is a tourbillon with the carousel. It's cool, but it's more interesting in that there are Roman numerals here and very interesting time display. But all of this is just too much for me, and it is big for a woman, guys. 41 by 45.9. That is a big watch. That is a big watch in the ladies category. We are still in ladies, correct? Yes. Okay, Hermes. I think that this is a very nice Hermes that I've spoken about on my channel before. The Hermes Coute le Temps Suspendu. And this is almost Laurent Ferrier in design. Really like that burgundy, like crimson red. I really like that the time suspended function. It's all very interesting. The sunburst red tinted is what they call the dial. 100-meter water resistance rating, 39 millimeters. Although this is in the ladies category, I'm going to go ahead and say that this is unisex. Because at that size, with this design, I think anyone could wear it. As long as you have 44,290 Swiss francs in your pocket that you're willing to spend, because that is an expensive watch. Jacob & Co., I mean, the Mystery Tourbillon, that's 44 millimeters. I don't even think that's not a ladies' watch, guys. Some of these, I don't know, I think that they skirted these in for the ladies category. That's not a ladies' watch. I don't care what anybody says. That is enormous. I rarely ever wear watches that big. So, I mean, unless we're talking about G-Shocks. But, come on. Daniel Roth, I'm a big fan of Daniel Roth. These watches are the attention to detail, again, second to none. Gorgeous. 35 by 5, 35.5 by 38.6. What's interesting about this is I would wear that because I actually really like these kind of undersized dress watches. Again, I think that some of these watchmakers had to find a place to be in this competition, so they may have entered things under the ladies category. I don't think that all of these necessarily have to be ladies watches specifically, but that's fine. Just under 50,000 Swiss francs for that. As we move on, there are a few men's watches that we have covered on the Time Teller channel, but we're going to wrap up the ladies real quick. This Ming Project 21, some people really like Ming. There are some Ming watches, like the salmon dial one that came out like 2 or 3 years ago, I thought was interesting. Parmigiani, this Fleurier, I don't really like this Fleurier. I think Parmigiani has some interesting watches, but a lot of them are very busy and oversized. Actually, you know what? I'm going to click on it because I want to know what size this is. 40 millimeter. For a woman, that's a lot of watch. Integrated. Hey, if you like this integrated bracelet design and you like it, and I like the movement, micro rotor, that's cool. It's platinum, very expensive. I think that instead of that watch, I would probably get like an overseas or something, but that's just me. Another Piaget, the Andy Warhol watch, Clou de Paris. I think the other Piaget was much more interesting. Raoul Paget, or Paget. This is actually a cool watch. What is that? White? Oh, this is a stone dial. I was going to say, is that like enamel or something? I really like that. 60-hour power reserve, 21,600 VPH. 38.5. Again, guys, I would wear this as a man. Some people might think that's too sterile. I get it. Kind of futuristic. Almost 90 Swiss francs. 90,000, excuse me, Swiss francs. Not a lot of these are cheap. In fact, the Ming right here that we spoke about is probably going to be one of the more affordable watches. Actually, never mind, I lied. Well, no, I didn't lie. Still very expensive, 29,500 Swiss francs, but it's because it's monoblock tantalum case. Yeah, but it's still a lot less expensive than some of the other watches we spoke about on the list. This Tasaki, face of Tasaki, black mother of pearl, 20,000 Swiss francs. Oh, that movement's awesome. That movement is very, very cool. I'm a sucker for rectangular movements, guys, and they're apparently not very easy to make, according to watchmakers. That's why most vintage rectangular watches have little circular movements in there. So, yeah. Moving on to some of the watches that I covered over on the Time Teller channel. Men's category, this Chopard LUC Quattro. It's nice textured blue. I think, yeah, platinum case. Nice watch, but there's another Chopard that I think takes the cake when it comes to that brand. And it's, again, I'm a sucker for this dial color. For those of you who follow me over on the Time Teller channel, you will know what dial color I'm talking about. Garrick, whole lot going on here. Obviously, this is very, very impressive. I'm not going to take anything away from skeletonized watches. In fact, this display looks very almost steampunk, and I know what you're thinking. It's like, well, you're just looking at a skeleton watch. Like, you're looking at an exposed movement, right? Like, but for some reason, this specific display, it does look very steampunk in design. Impressive. Still not quite for me. As we move on, ooh, I see some heavy hitters already. Grand Seiko Spring Drive UFA, great watch. Don't really need to say anything about that watch. I mean, Spring Drive, probably one of the most innovative functions on a movement. And, Grand Seiko, when you think Grand Seiko, you think finishing. The Laurent Ferrier Classic Auto Horizon. Spoke about this already. Louvered cut, crazy insane watch. Crazy insane watchmaker. Incredibly sleek and smooth. Very H. Moser in inspiration, I feel like, although Laurent Ferrier would be upset at me for saying that, because they are something different. And they are. But credit where credit's due. This is one of my favorite watchmakers. And not a lot of people know about them, and I'm sure they're happy about that. Urban Jurgensen. This is an interesting watchmaker, very interesting case shape. They're, what is this, red gold? Interesting, 39, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is listed under the men's category. This is a 39 millimeter watch, but we took a look at some women's watches that were listed at 44 millimeters. So, guys, you can just wear whatever the heck you want. I think it's interesting how the chapter ring is here. Then with the small seconds, it kind of overlaps. Some people will hate that. I think that will trigger some people's OCD. I think it's very interesting. Zenith GFJ caliber 135. To me, boring, especially in comparison to some of these watches. AP Royal Oak Perpetual Calendar 150th Anniversary Open Work. See, this is a skeletonized watch. Doesn't look super steampunky, though. That other one does. 41 by 41. You tell me what you think about that. As far as I'm concerned, when I see an AP at this point, excuse me, let me rephrase that. When I see a Royal Oak at this point, I'm just like, oh, Royal Oak. But, Beauvais, 1822. The Rectal. I'm just kidding, the recital. I think it's cool. All the different destination going across the dial. I really like this crystal. How it just kind of, you see that? How it just goes over. I really, really like that. 42 millimeters. I couldn't see myself wearing this watch as cool as it is, though. And I really like how they have an AM PM here right by the center spindle. I think that's really cool. Moving on, I want, there are watches I scrolled past that I really, really want to talk about. Here, this is the Chopard that I think takes the cake. LUC Lunar 1. Salmon dial. You can't get better than that, especially when it's paired with white gold, which is exactly what is going on here. I think that this is probably, this is 81,000 Swiss francs and some change, right? So it's not like this is going to be easier for me to get than a salmon dial white gold datograph. But it's like, if I were wanting a white gold salmon dial datograph, which is one of my it's one of my grails, guys, and I couldn't get that for some reason, although this is a different watch with obviously different complications, this would be a fine alternative to me, and I wouldn't complain. Very, very beautiful watch. Really like the different groove patterns. Micro rotor. It's just gorgeous, guys. It's just gorgeous. I really like that. I'm a big fan. And it kind of, unfortunately, cannibalizes the other Chopars in the men's category, because I think that one's much better. The Louis Vuitton X. This is a collaboration with Vuitelainen, and too much going on here. Interesting. But this kind of presentation with like the stained glass, I feel like I would see this in the 90s somewhere at some cafe. It's not for me. Not for me. Impressive watch though, and cool collaboration for sure. Parmigiani Fleurier, no. Not for me. Another Urban Jurgensen. Cool. Again, there are other watches with offset displays that I find more interesting, but I really am a fan of this watchmaker. Red gold, man. Red gold in 2025 is it. No more Everose. It's red gold is, I'm sorry, it's like the thing right now. Moving on, Anderson Genève. This is really funny because this watchmaker and I have some history. One of my earliest videos was about Anderson, and he's a watchmaker. This is very tame for him, by the way. I actually really like this kind of autumnal motif going on here. I could see this looking like an autumn leaf, right? Reminds me of Halloween in New England, where I grew up. But I had an interesting, I'll say, expose on this watchmaker when I first started my channel. And it's because a lot of people look at these watches that he comes out with, and they're like, wow, he's so impressive. And it's true. He is a very impressive watchmaker. He also loves making pornographic wristwatches. I know that you're like, what? What is even that? There is a whole category of erotic horology, and Anderson Genève, he's not the only one, but he is a big fan of it, I feel like. So if you want a wristwatch with someone just going to town on another person, he's your guy. And I think there's, boy, I almost, a bad turn of phrase. I almost said there's something tongue-in-cheek about it. Probably don't want to say that. I think there's like kind of a wink-wink going on. It's funny. I think it's he does it because it is humorous. And I think it is cool when watchmakers don't take horology that seriously. I also do not, and guys, this is the dude that on my podcast, I have Anime Girl of the Day, where I show an anime girl with like her titties out and stuff. Like, I am the last person to take things too seriously, right? And I'm definitely like not someone clutching my pearls like a prude. Like, oh, how dare he talk about boobies? Like, that's not me. I just don't think that I need it on my wristwatch. That's it. But these watches are so far out of my price range. Who knows? The circles that these guys run, they can do whatever they want. But yeah, I went on a tangent, not even talking about the watch that's in the competition. But I do like this one. Another AP Royal Oak. Okay. Breguet Classique Subscription. Really nice. These Breguet, the whole Breguet Classique line, I'm a big fan of. This Bulgari, I'm not going to spend too much time on because we spoke about it on my channel. This Serpenti from it's a collaboration. Excuse me. Bulgari already has some very innovative out there watches, and it's a collaboration with MB&F. And when you think MB&F, you think UFOs, spaceships, really out there. So when I heard that there was a collaboration with these two watchmakers, I was incredibly excited, and it did not disappoint. Is this something I would wear every day? Absolutely not, but this is art. It is so cool. It is... I mean, I don't even think I know how to tell the time on that watch, but it is awesome. And the Serpenti name, it definitely looks like a serpent in some ways. The eyes, the case shape, looks like the head of a snake or something. Really, really cool. I'm a big fan. And I know that's so out there. Another Parmigiani, not a huge fan. This Piaget Andy Warhol, man, it looks like some form of wood inlay, some lacquer, and guess what? When we click on it, we can look. It is Tiger Eye dial. That is lacquer. Okay, so I think it's beautiful. I'm a big fan of Piaget, if you couldn't tell. Not going to spend too much time on this one. Arnold and Son, the Constant Force Tourbillon 11. This is an enamel dial, yellow gold. So we're breaking away from that red gold fad for 2025. Love the offset time telling dial in this display. I think it's gorgeous. It's simple, really interesting, and I just love how it's a beautiful watch. Arnold & Son has some incredible watches. How can you beat a white enamel dial with black Romans and blued hands? I don't know. And to just kiss it off with a yellow gold case and a blue strap. It is. I would wear this watch. I don't know where I would wear it because let's see. This is limited to 11 pieces at just about 130,000 Swiss francs. So I would be wearing this watch, stepping out of my Ford truck, and like going to the low class places I go. But this is a very high class watch. Definitely out of my league, so to speak. I would be wearing that at my physical therapy. Which, you know what? I'm going to stand up for myself. Physical therapy is very expensive, so maybe I do deserve to wear a luxury watch there. I'm paying tens of thousands of dollars to get my freaking body fixed. Why not wear an Arnold & Son tourbillon? Okay, Bulgari Octofinissimo Ultra Tourbillon. Gorgeous watch. Very, very thin. This is the competitor to Piaget. It just is. Love the Octofinissimo. I would never wear this because it is 1.85 millimeters thick, and I think if I moved my wrist wrong, I would smash this. And it being 635,000 Swiss francs is a lot of money to piss away. Dude, incredible watch, and you know what? I love it just for existing. I'm just happy a watch like that exists. Okay, the Sapec Antarctic Tourbillon Glacier Blue. I'm a fan of this watchmaker, even though I don't know how to say their name. I follow them on Instagram. Hey, really love the dual finishing on this integrated bracelet. As far as integrated bracelet kind of luxury sports watches go, I mean, this is very, 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 very high end. Something about it reminds me of, like, to bring it back to something I can conceptualize, like a Chris Ward 12. But of course, this is a bajillion dollars more expensive. Jumbo rotor, love it. Really, really, really cool. Love the name too, Antarctic, the Glacier Blue. Really fits the name. Moving on, Man, we see some crazy watches. This Femme Al Hut watch, the Mobius. This is a watch I was going to put on my initial list on the Time Teller channel because I thought it was very, very interesting, but I chose against it, believe it or not. And you know that, like, it's very, very out there and weird, and almost like if you took a rectangular watch, I'm a sucker for rectangular watches, and then like zapped it and said future. Like you took like an old tank and then you zapped it with a spell and you were like futurize. Then it would turn into this. You know what I mean? It's not rectangular, but it essentially has the same type of time display, right? It's oblong. I like it. I think it's cool. And what I'm trying here. I love like a tank American, right? Where it's rectangular and long. I like wearing watches like that. So I feel like the futuristic alternative is this. That's what I was trying to get at. And I really dig it. But but you know what? Instead of this, I would prefer to wear the Bulgari MBNF Serpenti. I think that's much more interesting and out there, and also kind of has a long, look at this. It's wonky and wacky. Another Louis Vuitton tambour. This is cool. The Arabics spin around, and there's a tourbillon in the middle. That's cool. Another Urban Jurgensen. That's fine. This Armin Strom, don't need to talk about it because I spoke about it on the Time Teller channel. Big fan, but I know that some people told me it looks like a fly because it has big eyes. But you know what I would tell them? I don't think it's a housefly. I think it's a dragonfly. And dragonflies are the #1 insect that eats mosquitoes. And my wife is really allergic to mosquito bites, so I'm a fan. Grubel, Falsi, Nano, Foudroyante. Oh my god, I can't say it. Interesting watch though. Dial finish, multi-level in gold. White gold. Really cool. Tourbillon, flyback chronograph. So that's chronograph can reset and blah, 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 blah. Keep going. Nano mechanism, 1/6 of a second, hours, minutes, blah, blah, blah. Interesting. Like the white and blue. Sharp for sure. Are you guys a fan of all these different, like when we're talking about subdials, we're talking about like subdials. I mean, look at that. Every sub-dial and cutout is a different size. Are you guys okay with that? I think it's interesting. 500,000 Swiss francs, though, for that watch. I could see there's a few watches I would get on this list before I spend that money on that watch. Hazeman and Monin. This is a school watch subscription. I can see here that this is some form of chime. Yeah, so hours, minutes, seconds, jumping hours, striking watch. So whenever you see something like this, it's either a minute repeater or it's an hour chime or something like that. This is a striking watch. I actually like jump hour watches and I like chime watches. And I actually think that the whole philosophy behind minute repeaters and chime watches is very wholesome. So for those of you who don't know, when the minute repeater complication and the chime complications came out during the pocket watch era, it was for people who had poor vision or were blind. So they could have something that would chime the hours and strike the minutes so they would know what the time was, even if they couldn't, read a watch dial. And for someone who I have astigmatism in both eyes, dude. So for someone who, I can see that that's a watch, and if I squint, I can read the things on my screen. But for someone who is pretty blind without my glasses, I really do appreciate that. So this gets 2 thumbs up from me, even if I'm not the biggest fan of the display. Moving on. We got a pocket watch from Louis Vuitton. It's pretty. This is one of those ones that's just, it's like art. Fine. Don't care. And people are going to be like, well, watches are, you like watches, but these are, I like wristwatches for the most part, guys. And some of the really crazy vintage pocket watches. But, I don't know. Not a big fan of that. You know, there is a modern pocket watch I do like. Can you guys guess? The Richard Mille pocket watch. That's probably the only thing from Richard Mille that I actually appreciate. Luca Soprana, the Derek Pratt. You know what? Normally, if I saw this watch just by itself, I would be like, oh, cool. But I think we've taken a look at so many... Oh, okay, beautiful movement. I think we've taken a look at so many really, really crazy watches already. That kind of looks a little bit mid. I know, that's so mean to say. Van Cleef and Arpels. This is a jewelry company. All right. This is a fashion watch. I don't know. Lady Arpels, blah, blah, blah. We're in the men's care. Where are we? We're in the iconic category. Excuse me. No, Tourbillon. Where are we? Sorry. This mechanical exception category. My bad. This is not something I would ever consider. For me. Ever. It looks strange. I think this is probably meant for ladies. Don't care. Chronograph, now we're getting to something a little bit my speed. Another Anderson Genève. You know what? This looks really cool, really sporty. Love the destination time zones around the chapter ring. Crazy movement. Crazy movement. Very, very hyper limited. 8 pieces. 184,000 Swiss francs. Probably honestly one of the coolest watches, I think, in this category. But you know what? Gets 2 thumbs down because no one's naked on the dial. Come on, Anderson. I know you got it in you, literally. This is one of my favorite watches in the whole competition. And I spoke about it on my channel. I'm a vintage sucker, guys. And it's just so nice. And to know this watch was made modern built. And they did such a good job making it look vintage. This Angelus chronograph. Monopusher. Limited to 15 pieces. Gorgeous. Everything down to the font of the signage. They did such a good job. Speaking of we skipped one. We'll go back. Don't worry. Speaking of a watchmaker that I have referenced a lot during this list, H. Moser. This is a watchmaker that does not take themselves that seriously. And guess what? Crazy movement. Hate this watch. Do not like the case shape. Do not like the presentation. And that's fine. I really like this watchmaker. I really don't like this watch. And that's perfectly fine. You're allowed to do that, guys. Another watch that I skipped because I don't want to talk about it. This AP Royal Oak Concept. Now, this is a split-second chronograph and a GMT. Large date. This should be... What they should call this is the AP Royal Oak Richard Mille collab. That's what this is. It is horrendous, and I hate it. Comment in the comment section below. Guys, if you couldn't tell, I have a feeling most of you guys are already familiar with my reviews. I don't hold back. But it's, you know... man. I'm not a fan of Richard Mille, and this just really reeks of it. The Louis Moinet. Cool movement. Gorgeous movement. Don't like watches that have these pushers and crowns that are so far away from the case edge. It's titanium, though, which I think is really cool. But you know what? It's so much better than that last watch we took a look at that I'm almost giving this more points. I think it's cool. I think that this is really... It's the movement that is so beautiful about that watch. As we move down, another Ming. It looks a whole lot like this H. Moser. I'm not a fan, guys. Do you see? I think you guys are kind of getting the feel for my likes and dislikes, but this is what I want to hear from you, and I'm sure Wolf Watch Club would love to hear you guys comment below. What is your kind of design taste? What is your palette like? I don't like some of these really out there. Like again, the Serpenti, that's very out there, but some of these watches, like I couldn't wear them. I don't know. And I wouldn't wear them. AP Royal Oak Offshore, pretty conventional as far as I'm concerned. Chopard Alpine Eagle with Wolf Watch Club's not gonna like that I say this, with a butthole dial. That's what I call it. You can literally see the wrinkles in it. Hate it. This Tokyo Lion, okay, the Tentograph from Grand Seiko. This made waves when it was announced all over social media. It is so edgy, so sharp, so very Grand Seiko. What is my favorite part about this watch? The pushers. They have these really crazy, big, chunky serrations. I think it's so cool. 17,000 big ones, though. Brilliant, hard titanium. Hard. Man, Anders Genève. If they get a whiff of that word, they're going to go crazy. Okay, one of my favorite watches on the list, the Laurent Ferrier Sport Auto 79. We don't need to spend too much time on this because I gushed about Laurent Ferrier on my channel. And I do it regularly because this such a cool watchmaker, and you have to be very, very fortunate to be in the presence of one of these watches. This one's, just over 85,000 Swiss francs. These are not inexpensive watches. They want to keep it that way. Someday maybe. But yeah, gorgeous watches. I love how they're very sleek, very smooth. And they do remind me of H. Moser. Not the one that we took a look at today, but, another Parmigiani, don't like it. This Ressence watch, the Ressence GMT Sports Chic, their Type 7. I think it's interesting, a little bit too Bauhaus, futuristic, modern, don't like it. This Bulgari, okay, now we're in the jewelry section. We don't really need to talk about this, but this Serpenti, this is, like, Bulgari has had a serpent collection. Okay, this is part of it. It's a bangle. It's a bracelet, but it does have a watch dial. It's quartz. Whatever. Chopard, the Swan Lake. This also has a dial. I think it's really cool because the swan's wings actually open up. Here, I'm actually going to show you my screen. The swan's wings. You can see my bald head, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the wings opening up. Very cool. Again, this is in the jewelry section for a reason. But again, with that Bulgari Serpentine, now you realize that the MB&F collaboration, it had to happen. It was so gorgeous. This Dior Montre, disgusting. Piaget, I'm not a big fan. Kind of looks like the NBC logo. Peacocking over here. Piaget has done better things. Simon Blett, don't like it. The Van Cleef Arpels. Again, this is just a jewelry company. Yeah, it has a dial and a handset, so I guess it's a watch or a clock in some way. This Chopard Quattro Spirit 25, actually really cool dial. Actually very, very cool dial. I'm gonna give it that. Very cool dial. I like it. Yellow gold, I believe. Moving on. Hermes, they have a big history with horses and equestrians and stuff like that. I think Hermes makes really cool watches, but this is very clearly simply a fashion watch. This Louis Vuitton tambour, Bushido Automata, the way of the Bushido man. So the Bushido, the code of the samurai. I actually think this is really cool. So maybe we're learning that I think horses are cool. You guys might not know, I am an English-trained equestrian. I rode horses when I was very, very little boy, and I had my stirrups and my the helmet and everything, and I wore my polo, and it was very cool. But yeah, I think horses are awesome. They're just like big dogs, but Maybe we're just learning that I'm a weeb and I just want a samurai on my dial over a horse. I don't know. I think the samurai is really cool. I think the horse is cute, but I wouldn't wear it. To be clear, I wouldn't wear the samurai either, but for some reason, I think I like anime so much, and I'm just such a brain rot idiot that I'm like, cool, samurai, ninja, whatever. Piaget, don't like this one. Tiffany and Co. Enough with the boys. What are we doing with all the boys? This Vutelanin. This is wild. I need to show you this dial. When I was going over my picks, I remember staring at this and being like, whoa. This is a crazy dial. Still would not touch it. Almost 300,000 Swiss francs for that watch, by the way. We can see not all of it. Now, they have a class of like 3,000 and under watches, which I think is really cool that GPHG does that. Amida, I think that this is cool, but not my bag. Christopher Ward 12, we don't need to talk about this. This watch is loco because it literally is the Chris Ward 12 loco. I've reviewed a couple Chris Ward 12s. I'm a big fan of Chris Ward and the 12 series. I think it's gorgeous. H. Moser with a digital watch. Crazy. I think that's a big swing for them. Cool. MAD editions, the MAD2 green. A little too futuristic mod for me. Don't like it. Nomos Glashütte. People, dude, you want to talk about cult followings? Like, yeah, Invicta on the low end has like a crazy weird following. I'm not really worried about the things I talk about online with Invicta people because most of them, they can't read and they can barely understand what I'm saying. So I'm fine. Some of the Soviet watches, they have a cult following. If you ever talk anything bad about Nomos, they get a little Third Reich on you. All right? They're not happy about you having a less than stellar opinion. But here's the thing with Nomos, it is very Germanic and you have to really appreciate the Bauhaus design. And I'm just not super Bauhausy. Like, it is what it is. This Otsuka low-tech kind of, it's very busy. Not for me. Atelier when cool. I'd rather have a Chris Ward 12. The Beda watch I thought was really cool. I'm going to try to get one in for a review. This is actually quite affordable. I spoke about it on my channel. People, again, though, they said it looks like a bathroom scale. This Barron's watch. Take a look at this thing, dude. Again, this is just under 3,000. Not 300. Not 300,000. Just under 3,000 Swiss francs. So, relatively, this is very affordable. Look at that. Really cool, actually. Not something I would wear every day, but pretty interesting. Chris Ward London. This is one of their kind of artsy-fartsy Mr. Jones collaborations. Not for me. Denison watch. Love it, because this is a tiger's eye. Very cool. Neo-vintage. I love it. Some people will look at that and be like, what is that, 1970? I think that's so badass. The Corona Tokyo, I like it. Power reserve indicator, I'm a sucker. Now, this is the final thing we're going to take a look at today. And these things are just, I am rich and I'm going to put it on my desk. Or in this first case, I'm going to put it up my butt. Because I don't know why this is shaped like this. Anton Suhanov, St. Petersburg Easter egg. I'm joking. Wolf Watch Club's not going to be happy. They're like, why did we let the Time Teller collaborate with us? He is a vile human. But it is what it is, guys. This is just, it's like art. This is literal art. You might pick it up and show your friends and put it back on your, on your little, your desk. This is what it is. You put it on your desk, on your nook, on, like, you're not going to interact with this stuff all that much. Which is why wristwatches are so intimate and special to me. Because it's something that you can't help but interact with. It's on your wrist. This Fiona Kluge mystery box. I feel like there'd be horror movies made about this. You interact with it, then you have like your worst nightmare happen to you, and then it appears at your friend's house and they open it and interact with it, and the same thing happens to them. Whatever. You know what? Wolf Watch Club, clip it. We're going to go ahead and take that idea to Hollywood. We're going to make millions, baby. This is actually my favorite on the list. There's one other that I think is really cool. This Albatross from Lepi, 1839 Albatross. This is another collaboration from MB&F, and you know it when you see it because it's very weird and out there, and this thing looks like it would be flying over Ukraine in some terrible drone explosion video. That's what this is. It literally looks like it's a flying bomb. I don't know how else to describe it, but it looks really cool. There's one more that I think is my favorite when it comes to the mechanical clock category. This Louis Vuitton, I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't hate it. I think it's cool to wind it. It's at the bottom. That's where the key is. And then you get a tourbillon here. Time-telling display is very interesting. Looks like a hot air balloon. Something that, speaking of worst fears, I will never go in. Especially when I saw that recent video from like a month ago of one just falling out of the sky. It's who does that, dude? It's dangerous enough just walking out your front door. You don't need to make things harder for you. Don't tempt fate, guys. Come on. This Mickey Eletta. This is actually one of my favorites because, again, it's a literal spaceship. It looks so cool. I think it's awesome. There's like these little green alien men. I think it's so cool. It's 405,000 Swiss francs, so I will never own something like this. But it's still incredible. It's like, what do you want? GT3 RS or like that? I would go for GT3 RS and maybe some left over to pay for insurance and stuff. But that is pretty cool. And guess what? Dudes that own this, they also have like they think GT3 RSs are for like poor people. And they daily drive an F40. Okay, this trilobe. It makes sense because it looks like the lobes of your brain. Look at that. And then you can get an exploded clinical version. Boom. You even see the eyeballs here. How much is this? 400,000 Swiss francs. Dang. My dad's a brain doctor. I should have, you know what, Dad? I was going to get you this for your birthday, but it's just out of my budget. I apologize. But there you have it, guys. I mean, here's the thing. I love these awards, not because I want to see these watchmakers compete and I need to see who wins and blah, blah, blah. I'm not really invested in that. What I think is cool is that competition itself is a good thing because these watchmakers will show up year after year with their crazy innovation, crazy design, and we all benefit from it because we get to look at all this cool, just wonky, weird, beautiful stuff. So it's not the competition going on who's going to get the award, blah, blah, blah. It's the competitive nature itself that brings up all these watchmakers and motivates them to come out with something crazier and crazier each year. And again, as watch nerds and as a watch club here at Wolf Watch Club, I think we really do all benefit by being able to take a look at all these crazy things. So if there's something that I could leave you with right now, it's to understand that your opinions, whether you like or whether you dislike, are something that you should share. And there are no rules to the watch collecting world. I'm very vocal about the things I like, and I'm very vocal about the things I don't like. But just because I might not like something, or some other influencer you follow might not like something, or they might really like something, doesn't mean you have to agree with them. And that's perfectly fine. Find your own way in this watch collecting world. See what you like, see what you don't like, and be okay breaking your own rules. All right, guys, thank you. I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller, here at Wolf Watch Club. At the end of the month, if you're watching this in September, we're going to be seeing, and I'm going to be revealing here on this channel, the Wolf Watch Club channel, who gets to take home that crazy Rolex Sprite. And then this week, at the time of filming, they're doing their first ever winner's choice. So whoever wins this week, come Sunday, gets to choose which Breitling Super Ocean variant they want to take home. I don't think any other watch competition online has ever done that. I think it's risky and crazy and really cool that Wolf Watch Club is offering that variable to you guys at home. And so, yeah, take advantage. I'll leave a link in the description here. You're already here at the Wolf Watch Club YouTube channel, so why not go to the website and check it out? All right, guys, I will see you later. Peace!